What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I am still the Nerdy Mark, and this is my review of AEW and NXT for this week. Now, real quick, before we begin, I will be going live for the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches as the Rumble pay-per-view is in about 2 weeks. Now, I really want to know, would you guys rather me do the reactions here or on Instagram? The only reason I've been doing them on Instagram is because the last time I reacted to the Rumble's matches on YouTube, I got a copyright strike. So that's the only concern I have with that. Perhaps I will actually go live on YouTube. So you know what? No, just tune in right here on YouTube when the Rumble match goes on, both men's and women's Rumble matches. I will be here reacting to them both. You won't see the actual match itself. I will not be showing any actual footage. You may see my water bottle. You may see a few snacks. You may see some food, but that's really about it, okay? So I hope you guys will join me live on YouTube for both the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches. But with that being said, let's get on to this week's flagship shows, and we'll start, as we always do, with AEW Dynamite. We begin AEW Dynamite with Brodie Lee Jr.'s birthday celebration. So happy belated birthday to -1. We do have a bit of a celebration. We have the Dark Order singing happy birthday. He gets carried out on the shoulders of 10. He's also wearing, his father's entrance gear, which was really a nice touch. The celebration is interrupted by Chaos Project, who say they hate birthdays and they hate children. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Luther. If you like him, great, but I'm just not big into it. I know that he was known as like the death dealer in Japan, and I'm sure he was great back in his heyday, but right now, it just doesn't impress me. Very underwhelming. We do eventually get this match. Adam Page teams up with Silver Reynolds and Colt Cabana of the Dark Order to take on Chaos Project and the Hybrid 2 in a very fun match. Both teams are pretty evenly matched. It's good stuff, like a good show of athleticism from everybody. Brodie Jr. gets involved, dumps Luther's face on the cake, but of course the match does end with a assisted suplex. Well, not even an assisted suplex. It's a buckshot suplex of sorts. Like a buckshot suplex followed up by a Northern Lights pinning combination by Silver, Reynolds, and Page, which looked really awesome. But after the match, after they win, John Silver gets on one knee like he's gonna propose to Adam Page, for a marriage proposal. They even have the whole thing where they say he said yes, all coming down before Adam Page could even answer the question whether he'll join the Dark Order or not. Of course, Adam Page, to the chagrin of the Dark Order and the disappointment, really, he says no. He says, I've done the team thing before, hasn't really worked out for me, so I'm sorry. And he goes towards the entrance ramp and grabs the bottle of Jack Daniels that Stu Grayson had waiting for him, and he walks through the heel entrance. See, it's nuances like this that can hint at things to come. So looking forward to see where this story leads us. Up next, we have a segment with Don Callis and the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are invited to Kenny Omega's house. Michael Nakazawa is working as secretary. Alex Marvez sneaking up behind them and basically following them everywhere. Not creepy at all. And it was an interesting segment because when they walk into the room that Nakazawa leads the Bucks to, they see this oil painting of Kenny and Don Callis. I'm just going to put it up right here. There it is. All I have to ask is one question. What is the starting price for this painting? I just want to know. I'm just asking for a friend, really. The conversation does turn sour between Bucks and Don Callis, who continues to insinuate that they are holding Kenny back. And obviously, you know, they both are saying, you know, we've been friends for 12 years. How can you say that? And he tries to, you know, write them checks and tries to bribe them, basically. They rip up his checks. He calls them a couple of bloodsuckers. They don't take it very well. And they get physical with Don Callis. That was actually kind of uncomfortable for me to say, considering the painting that we just saw. We then have Cody Rhodes taking on Pretty Peter Avalon. And apparently Avalon's been doing well for himself on AEW Dark, so good for him there. The match begins with a distraction from Jade Cargill. Whatever. I mean, I don't need to see her on my screen every damn week. Besides, there's a better version of Jade Cargill, and her name is Bianca Belair, okay? And yes, I'm going to keep making comparisons to Bianca Belair as long as AEW decides to torture me by putting that woman on my screen. This distraction allows Avalon to get the advantage early on, but Cody does take over, and it's more or less one-sided for the most part. Cody does get Avalon in a figure four leg lock, and Cody was about to slap Avalon on the face, so Avalon tapped out. Obviously, his face is more important than winning the match, so that's his new gimmick. And freaking Jade Cargill. That's literally all I have to say about this match and this whole everything that just happened. Up next, we have Jon Moxley taking on Nick Camarada, who is actually being scouted by the Nightmare family since he is apparently training at the Nightmare Factory, so that's cool. Pretty short match, but somewhat of an even match this one was. Unlike the previous match, which was pretty much all Cody Rhodes, this one actually had Camarada take it to Moxley, so that was really good. The best part being Moxley just kicking the piss out of Nick Camarada and Camarada just absorbing them, and like that was good stuff. I like it. I think there's a lot of potential in this guy, so hopefully down the line we see a little bit more of him. But anyway, Moxley then finally won the match with a German suplex and a sleeper, so that was there. But afterwards he did cut a promo on Kenny and his frat boys from Japan, which was pretty cool. You know, he references Bullet Club and the Elite, of course, Impact Wrestling, all that good stuff. So I mean, it was a really good promo because, you know, unlike Jade Cargill, whenever I see Jon Moxley on my screen, I'm a very happy man. So more Jon Moxley, less Jade Cargill. Thank you very much. So I have to apologize because I am going a little bit out of order, but early on in the show, we did have Sting, who was wearing a Brodie Lee shirt, nice touch, coming out and wanted to congratulate Darby Allin on the win last week, which is weird because Darby Allin has been champion for like a few weeks now. Why didn't you come out and congratulate him the week after he beat Cody for the belt? He is then cut off by Team Taz on the Titantron, who basically accuse Sting and Darby of being dirty players, and basically that it was very like street of them. Interesting. And Taz says that he's from the streets and he wants to know if they want to take it to the streets, and Darby Allin says, if you want to take it to the streets, you got it. Be careful what you wish for. And it was later on revealed that we're going to get Sting and Darby Allin versus Team Taz in a street fight. And apparently this is going to be a cinematic match because supposedly it is in Sting's contract that he can only wrestle cinematic matches, which is a good way of protecting him, you know, considering his last run in WWE. So that was really cool. I'm looking forward to see what they do with that street fight. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. So continuing this whole underlying story with the tension within the Elite, caused mainly by Don Callis, really. We do see Kenny Omega, first of all, wearing a damn nice shirt and some really nice shoes, coming out, and Marvez tries to get a word from him about what happened at the beach, which was, you know, the beach house or whatever. And Kenny says no comment because he wasn't there. He sees that Don Callis is all bruised up, asks Don who did this, but Don tries to brush it off but accidentally slips up, saying that it was the Bucks. And obviously Kenny is a little bit not able to believe it. Alex Marvez tries to come in and get a comment, but they kick him and the cameraman out. I'm sorry, man. Alex Marvez, I get that it's a character, but I'm sorry, dude. That's kind of annoying. You don't do that. I know you're just doing your job, but that's annoying. Back at the ring, we have Top Flight and Matt Sydal teaming up to take on Private Party and Matt Hardy, the Hardy Party, as it were. Pretty good match. We do see Private Party getting more and more vicious as the match goes on. That's kind of the story being told throughout. Matt wants to see, a return on investment, and having them actually win matches and whatnot, and having them actually listen to him, because he obviously knows what's best, and they're two idiotic people who need to be led. But anyway, they did show up on Impact Wrestling, by the way, the night before, and they got the opportunity to become the #1 contenders for the Impact Tag Team Championships against Gallows and Anderson, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, the match does end when Isaiah Cassidy gets a chair and hits, I think, Matt Sydal with it on the apron, allowing Mark Quinn to do, a moonsault and win the match. And of course, afterwards, the both teams kind of get into it, and of course, we do have Private Party attacking Top Flight, and basically Matt Hardy hits a twist of fate on both of the men. And so it looks like, obviously, they are going more and more towards a heel turn. So that should be pretty interesting. Next up, we do have Penelope Ford taking on legit Layla Hirsch. Penelope Ford, of course, is flanked by her fiance, Kip Sabian, Miro, and their new butler, Charles, formerly known as Chuck Taylor. This is actually not a bad match. Both of these women are very, very good. I think we can have a much longer match with these women at some point. I would love to see it. Orange Cassidy is sitting in the crowd and he's watching this match, obviously, because his best friend is forced to be Miro's butler, so he's gonna watch. We do have him actually getting involved in the match at the behest of Miro, and this actually allows Penelope Ford to pick up the win. And that's that. But after the match, we have Miro grabbing a microphone and forcing Charles to say to Orange Cassidy that Miro is his best friend now, which he reluctantly says. Orange Cassidy just looks up, takes off his glasses, and walks away through the crowd. And of course, we'll see what happens at Beach Break, which is in 2 weeks, I think. Until then, Chuck Taylor is the butler of Miro. So we'll see what happens. Will Orange Cassidy finally save him? Will Chuck Taylor be saved by his friend Trent? Or will Chuck finally succumb to the dark side, I guess, and be Miro's butler forever? I guess we'll have to find out. Backstage, we do see Gallows and Anderson beating up on Penta El Cero Miedo. And then Kenny Omega comes in and joins in on the fun. He unbuttons his really, really nice shirt. My God, where did he get that shirt? Can someone tell me? Because I want one like that. Or, if you want to get one for my birthday, which is in July, but, you can always, shop for someone's birthday early, as Don Callis said. We do have Omega joining in and beating up on Penta. He takes off one of his really nice looking boots, which also I would love, and he gouges out one of Penta's eyes so as to incapacitate him, since now they can't have that match. So the main event is replaced for Beach Break, that is replaced by Omega and the Good Brothers versus Pac, John Moxley, and and Phoenix, not Penta, Phoenix. So that should be a really good match. Up next, we do have a 3-way tag team match between the Inner Circle. We have Chris Jericho and MJF, who come out to a remixed version of Judas, which has MJF's theme interspersed in it, which I thought was kind of cool. Of course, Santana and Ortiz and Sammy Hagar, which, Jake Hager and Sammy Guevara. We actually have a message from the Red Rocker, Sammy Hagar himself, cheering on Hager and Sammy, so that I thought was pretty cool. This was fine. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but I really didn't care much for this match. Like, it was the main event, right? But it didn't really feel like a main event match. There were some really good spots in it, like Sammy, for example, the real MVP of this match. And, you know, it was fantastic. But, you know, I don't know. It just lacked something. I think the pacing of this match just didn't do it for me. Wow, I'm actually using pacing to talk about a wrestling match. I mean, come on, this is an anime review. That's happening at the end of this month. Finally, Jake Hager gets clocked by the Dynamite ring, and MJF wins for Chris Jericho and him. So they're the official tag team, and there is a tag team tournament that's starting at Beach Break. So I'm guessing Jericho and Max are going to be in that. But that is how we end Dynamite. We actually ended it pretty abruptly because the broadcast kind of cut off. But anyway, with that being said, let's move on to NXT. We begin NXT with a first round match for the Dusty Cup. It is Leon Ruff and Kushida taking on The Way, Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory, in a fantastic match. This was just amazing. It's weird because Austin Theory actually plays the big man in this match, which is an interesting position for him to be in, because in all the matches that I've seen Theory in, he's usually been, you know, the high flyer, doing all the flippy shit, as it were. But here, he's actually like the muscle for The Way. So, I mean, I thought that was actually pretty interesting. But this is to no avail, because the match ends with Johnny Gargano trying to hit a meet in the middle, you know, the whole DIY super kick / knee strike thing that Ciampa and Gargano used to do. I just call it a DIY super kick. That's kind of what I call it now. But he's about to set up for one of those. But, of course, Leon Ruff comes in to save his partner Kushida. Gargano to hit a suplex on Kushida, which he then bridges onto into a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Leon Ruff and Kushida move on in the tournament. Fantastic match, like I said, but that's all I gotta say. After this, we do have a promo and video package for Pete Dunne, who wants to face off against Finn Balor for the NXT title, which I think is a fantastic idea. I really want to see this match. Elsewhere, we saw Malcolm Bivens walking in the hallway, about to go to William Regal's office, when Tyler Rust, his client, comes out and says that they got a match later on tonight with Bronson Reed, which Malcolm Bivens kind of is a little apprehensive about. He says it's not the first person that I would have gone for, but hey, what's done is done. We have that match, so let's go prepare. I'm looking forward to see where they go here. Oh, and by the way, Karrion Kross killed the Jobber. That's pretty much all you need to know. I just wanted to lump all those into one whole clip, so that now that I've talked about all those things, we can move on. We have another match in the Dusty Cup. We have Imperium taking on Lucha House Party. What a contrast of styles, yet how amazing they work together. This is absolutely fantastic. Probably the best match in the tournament so far. I know we're still early on in the tournament, but so far in the first round of the Dusty Cup, this has been the best match. Really, really good stuff here. Lucha House Party do put away Imperium, but after the match, we do see Alexander Wolf showing up, and they do this thing. I can't really do it on my chair, but you know what I mean. You know, the Imperium pose with their hands back there, you know. So, interesting to see what's going on. I was half expecting Walter also to show up, so yeah, I don't think Walter will really show up because he doesn't really want to travel. He wants to stay in the UK. So, I mean, I guess we're going to have to make do with Alexander Wolf for right now. But that's fine. It is what it is. I like Alexander Wolf. He's very underrated. We now have our first match in the women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. But before that, we do have Beth Phoenix introducing the tournament. And this had me wondering, why couldn't they do this match in the beginning, it makes that much more sense for them to do that because, you have Beth Phoenix basically cutting not a promo, but basically making this huge announcement saying NXT bred all these different women, and they show different pictures of all the different talent that started from NXT and moved up to the main roster. I feel like this was misplaced, and they should have done this whole announcement of the Women's Dusty Cup, in the beginning, and the subsequent match right after. And then we could have had, in this place, Kushida and Leon Ruff versus The Way. These two things should have switched places. I think would have been much neater. But anyway, we do have Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez taking on Kacy Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. Very good match. I like this one a lot. We see the friendship and the chemistry of Carter and Catanzaro in full display, but Toni Storm and Martinez are also just as able to cooperate with each other, I guess, in the ring. It looks like it's going to be the heels, but Io Shirai comes in and basically gives Mercedes Martinez a receipt for 2 weeks ago when she got attacked by her. So that happens, and we have the match being ended by Kacy Catanzaro after she hits I don't know what that was, but it was beautiful. Like, Kacy Catanzaro, it makes perfect sense that she's dating Ricochet. These two are made for each other. It was like a corkscrew 450 swanton, something like that. And it was really, really cool. And that's how they won the match and advanced in the tournament. So I'm actually really looking forward to see. I kind of hope this team wins and they do face off against whoever the women's tag. Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Yeah, I think they're gonna lose those tag team titles. But yeah, I think it would be really beneficial for the women's tag titles to come to NXT, where they would actually be valued. So, just a thought. Backstage, we have Finn Balor walking into William Regal's office. My goodness, William Regal is a very busy man this week. He says that he wants Pete Dunne, Finn Balor does. But of course, he says before that, I want to dispatch of Lorcan and Danny Burch. To which Regal says, fine, you can have them next week, but you need to find yourself a partner. So Finn Balor says, I don't have any friends around here anymore. I only have enemies. To which Regal says, well, keep your enemies closer, right? So that gives Finn an idea, and he walks out of the office. We'll see him later on. We have Bronson Reed, the colossal Bronson Reed, that is, taking on Tyler Rust. But before the match, we did see backstage Bronson, as he was heading to the ring, Isaiah Swerve Scott stop him and tell him to basically stay out of his business. Again, it's continuing to lead more and more to a Swerve Scott heel turn. I am actually really looking forward to that. And I still am wondering, between Mark Quinn and Isaiah Swerve Scott, why do these two men have a hairstyle like Juice WRLD? This was an interesting match. As Bronson Reed is making his entrance, we do see in the split screen that Toni Storm and Io Shirai are having a pull-apart brawl. So I'm guessing that's going to be a match for next week. So that's cool. Bronson Reed versus Tyler Rust, a pretty decent match. Good back and forth between both of these men. Tyler Rust actually holds his own in this. I guess they're going to push him for a while. But Bronson Reed does hit a tsunami to win the match. Malcolm Bivens then pulls Tyler Rust and says, look, we'll get him next time, but let me book the matches, basically. So, the manager-client relationship is starting to fester in between these two gentlemen. So, continuing on with the underlying story, this time with Finn Balor trying to get one over Pete Dunne and his buddies, he goes into the Undisputed Era's locker room, and he is met with a very hostile demeanor from the three men. Of course, Bobby Fish is out with injury, as he is at least every 2 months. I don't mean to make fun of him, but dude, the guy gets injured so much, it's not even funny. He eventually turns to Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor does, and he asks Kyle to be his partner. He says, will you be my partner, or are you still sucking your food through a straw? To the chagrin of Roderick Strong, Adam Cole just, says, okay, hold on, back off, Roddy. But of course, Kyle O'Reilly finally does agree. He says, fine, let's do it. So that's going to be cool. Lorcan and Birch are going to take on Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly next week. So that should be a good one. We now have the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, Santos Escobar, in the ring. And he cuts a very good promo. Like, this guy is very underrated in promos, okay? Seriously, every promo he has cut so far, and that's probably like 4 of them since he's debuted, not including the pre-tape segments. He's just so good. He's really good. I don't know why he doesn't get enough mic time when he's out there. He should really get some mic time. He has a heavy Mexican accent, but his English is really good. And he has that cadence that he's able to deliver with. It feels like he really believes in his words. So I just like that a lot. But anyway, he basically brags about how Wild and Phoenix got a win on the Dusty Cup. And of course, also how they sent Lucha House Party packing, which makes no sense because Lucha House Party defeated Imperium, but whatever. We do have the Lucha House Party showing up and interrupting Legado del Fantasma. It looks like the numbers game is with the heels, but out comes Kurt Stallion to help the babyfaces and even out the odds. And backstage, we do have Kurt Stallion and Escobar having a face-to-face, and basically he says, "You got my attention now." So that's pretty cool. Although I would love to see a match between these two, but I don't want Escobar to lose the title just yet because I want Wild and Phoenix to win the Dusty Cup and eventually win the tag team titles. And I want a time where, Legado del Fantasma holds all the gold. Every faction, there needs to be a time where every member, in my opinion, is holding a belt. I think that maybe it's just my OCD, but I would really like to see that with El Legado del Fantasma because they're actually a very good team. And finally, it's time for our main event. Tommaso Ciampa takes on Timothy Thatcher in the Fight Pit. So if you've seen the first Fight Pit match between Riddle and Thatcher, you know how brutal and crazy that was. This was just that much more crazier, and it was really good. Go watch this match. Seriously, I would suggest you go and just watch it. This was absolutely match of the night. Both men wanted to absolutely freaking murder each other. And it was just beautiful wrestling violence, as John Moxley says, or something along those lines, right? Beautiful, glorious violence that this country has never seen. It's really, really good. Like I said, go watch it. But, a lot of submissions, a lot of strikes between both of these men. Just good stuff, man. I don't know what else to tell you. But finally, we do have Timothy Thatcher trapping Tommaso Ciampa in the corner of the cage and using it to wrench back the surgically repaired knee of Tommaso Ciampa until Ciampa finally taps, allowing Thatcher to get his second win in the Fight Pit match. I really want to see more Fight Pit matches. Don't just do one every year. Do 2, okay? Seriously, these are very good matches, and honestly, I would save them for special episodes too. Whatever, if they do Great American Bash or something like that again, save it for that. After the match, we do have both men kind of just staring at each other and as kind of a show of respect. So that was pretty cool, but that is how we end out NXT. So overall, I'm not gonna lie, with AEW, something was just missing this week. That same kind of exuberance, that same energy just wasn't there this week. I don't know what happened, but it just wasn't it just wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. The segments were really good. Even in the segments, the main storyline that I'm really excited about is everything going on with the Elite. So, that's going to be interesting. Well, Elite / Bullet Club, I guess. So that's pretty cool. But, Obviously, the whole Chuck Taylor as Miro's butler has a ways to go, but we'll see what happens with that. Even that I'm kind of interested in as well. Obviously, the storytelling was a lot better on AEW. As far as NXT is concerned, the matches were absolutely fantastic. I think the storytelling-wise, AEW actually has like a roadmap for where each story is going to end. Like they know the final destination of each storyline that's happening in AEW, whereas I feel like NXT is just being booked, the storyline is just being booked week after week after week. So it's just like, okay, let's just see where this goes every week, and finally we'll have a payoff. It just feels like that. Maybe they have a roadmap too, but it just doesn't feel like it. It doesn't. They're not running as smoothly as AEW is. It's story department. But as far as matches, NXT, took it this week. And frankly, I actually enjoyed NXT this week a lot more than I enjoyed AEW. But as far as matches go, I'm not going to lie. AEW, I guess if I have to pick, Layla Hirsch versus Penelope Ford was really good. But that's really it. Oh, yeah, and I guess the opening match was a fun match. Dark Order and Hangman Page versus TH2 and Chaos Project. Those were two fun matches. NXT, obviously the Fight Pit was really good. I would say Imperium versus Lucha House Party was a very good match. And Kushida and Leon Ruff versus The Way. Those were my matches of the night. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings another review of AEW and NXT to a close. What did you guys think about both shows? In the comment section below, let me know. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Don't forget to hit that bell so you know every time I upload and you get notified. But with that being said, this is Sid signing off. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.